Hello everyone and welcome back to LeagueWatch, the show where we talk about everything hockey. My name is Ryan Clark and I'm here with Jack today, and we have a variety of different topics to talk about, so let's just jump straight into it.
You're listening to CMRU.ca by students for you.
So first off, we're going to jump straight into our wildcard predictions. So for those who have been listening over the past 4 weeks, I guess, the last 4 weeks, we have done our predictions for each, not each conference, for each division of our top 3 playoff teams, but we haven't talked about our wildcards yet. So Jack, I'll let you go ahead. There we go. Is your mic working now?
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Sweet.
I can hear you. Perfect. I think we're good.
Okay.
Rocky, start again.
Okay, so you said are we doing the predictions like based off of...
Based off our last predictions,
yeah, so based off like what our standings were, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously, like looking at my predictions, like obviously I think they've kind of aged poorly already, if I'm being completely honest with you.
I think same.
Like,
honestly, same.
I'm not loving what I'm like seeing looking at my Pacific and Central, but I guess based off of this, both like the Pacific is kind of weaker, and I'm kind of leaning towards giving Central both of the wild cards here.
Really?
Yeah. So,
wow.
Because what I have is I have in the Pacific, I have the Knights first, Oilers second, Anaheim third. So
right.
Like, those guys all make the playoffs. But then at 4 here, I have the Canucks, and I do not think the Canucks are making the playoffs.
That's a valid choice, especially
yeah.
off of the last couple weeks. I can definitely agree with that.
So just based off like what I have down here, I have in the Central, I had the Mammoth at 4 and Minnesota at 5. So I think Utah is gonna make the playoffs. Like I'm pretty set in stone on that. They've kind of fallen off a little bit, but I think they're still a playoff team, even if it's a wild card. So I'll have them there, and then I guess I'll have Minnesota as my second wild card. I think if I was to choose another team, though, I'd probably say the Kraken.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a valid choice.
But,
honestly.
Yeah. So honestly, you know what? I'm gonna do Utah and Kraken.
All right. Awesome.
I'm gonna do Utah and the Kraken.
Awesome. All right. So to change it up a little bit here, I'm gonna jump into my Western predictions. Then we can go back into your Eastern ones here. Just trying to find the right camera. There we go. We're hoping to get our cameras working today. We are really hoping, because it's been 6 long weeks of cameras not working.
We've been trying that like every show.
Honestly, yeah. But luckily we've still been able to get audio for those listening on YouTube. So moving into my Western Conference wildcard. Wildcard 1, I got the LA Kings. They're up there right now. I think they're up in the top 3 right now. Which the Western definitely has been weaker. So I think, honestly, right now, if I were to go back and re-look at my predictions for that division, especially, I would say LA would be like second or third, to be completely honest.
Like you think they're gonna fall like to a wild card spot? Like
off of my predictions I made at the start of the year, I'm gonna predict them as a wild card.
Yeah,
but as of right now, if I were predicting that division like today, right now, I would have them in second or third.
Okay.
To be completely honest.
Okay, I see.
And just because of how shocking the Oilers have started, and we'll get into that a little bit later as well.
We will.
And definitely on the next show when Naomi is back too. Since then we have our in-house Oilers fan to try and cope with whatever has been going on up there up north.
Hey guys, don't worry, we still have McDavid and Draisaitl.
Oh yeah. Wildcard 2, I got the Dallas Stars. I think they're a solid team. I talked about it how initially, I think it was in the second show that we did these predictions when we did this division, how I felt like Dallas could definitely be higher, but I've dropped them down just because of the management and the head coach for sure. And I think Naomi was in the same boat as well, where I think they're quite a solid team. They got a solid front 6. Yeah. But I think that coaching staff is really going to be a problem down there in Dallas.
That's fair. Yeah, honestly, I'm like a bit higher on Dallas, like especially recently. Like they've been looking pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I see where you're coming from, and I also think another team in the West that could be a fun potential wild card is the Blackhawks.
Yeah, no, 100%. Bedard's been incredible.
He has, dude. I love it. In 2 fantasy leagues, he's killing it.
Oh yeah, you've been getting gifted in fantasy. Bedard and Celebrini.
Yeah, we literally talked about it this like just before the show. Like I had Celebrini and Bedard when they had their hat tricks.
They both had hat tricks 2 days ago. Yeah,
that was awesome.
All right, who do you have for the East?
Yeah, so let's go over to the East. So I think I'm doing both Atlantic teams here. I just think the Atlantic is so strong that like how can you not really
Yeah,
go with
honestly.
them? Like
I
there's
think
honestly like
I've done the same. Yeah.
yeah, like the bottom, like honestly, like the entire top 7, I would maybe even like could be a playoff team, which is kind
Yeah.
of crazy to say.
100%.
Maybe not Buffalo or whatnot. And I have Boston at 8, which is like aging horribly. But
Yeah, I got them at 7, so
we're not gonna talk about that. But anyway, so I have then I guess my first wild card. I have the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're just a vet team, right? Like they know how to get it done, and I think maybe some of these younger teams will kind of leapfrog them.
Right.
And I'm looking at this again, and it's not looking too good because right now I have Montreal at 1. They're not in a playoff spot anymore. I have Toronto at 2. They're not in a playoff spot. But again, we're going to ignore that. We're going to pretend that's not happening. And then I guess that for my second wild card, I'll have the Ottawa Senators. Like,
Yeah.
I think they might honestly finish higher, maybe in the top 3 with how the Leafs and Canadians have been trending. But just because I have them here at 5th in my predictions, I'll have them as my second wild card.
Yeah, for sure. For my Eastern wild card, I've gone with the 2-time reigning champs, Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be quite as good of a team, especially in the regular season. Postseason, of course, is a whole different story.
Yeah.
You know, no one thought they would go back-to-back until we saw them in the postseason. They were just absolutely crushing everyone. But especially in the regular season right now, of course, with Matthew Tkachuk is out. Bobrovsky's been off to a rough start.
Yeah.
He's started coming back a little bit now into the Bobrovsky we've seen in the past couple of years, especially in the playoffs. But it's been a tricky start, especially with injuries there down in Florida. So I think they're definitely going to come back on strong around the deadline, just before the deadline and after the deadline. Definitely in that later part of the season when they have a lot of these big names back. And I think that team is built for playoff hockey too.
Yeah,
like that is an electric locker room they got going down in there. Like, you know, Marchand, Tkachuk, Bennett, like it's just such a good playoff team. Whereas I feel like in Florida, if that energy is high, the team's going to play well. Like if the stakes are high, like especially we've seen that recently too, you know, Game 7 Stanley Cup final, they were there 2 years in a row. When they lost one, or no, they weren't even in Game 7 against Vegas, were they? I don't know what I'm going on about. They were in Game 5.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like against Edmonton, stakes were high. They came in, controlled the situation, and they won.
Yeah.
Came back the next year to arguably a better Edmonton Oilers team. Of course, missing a goalie and a couple other players, and they go and beat them in 6.
Yeah.
So I think this Florida Panthers team is just one that really thrives under pressure and under the big spotlight that the NHL can put under them. And I just don't really see that, especially in the regular season, unless it comes down to those final 2 or 3 months, like starting after the Olympic break for sure.
Yeah.
In wildcard 2, I got the Toronto Maple Leafs. Of course, a shaky start to their season as well. They've had some injuries. Stolarz has been on and off as well. I think he might be still out now. And he had a rough start to the year too. So they're kind of primarily relying on Joseph Woll to kind of back up the net. And I mean, the big names have done stuff, just not a ton. Like I think that key piece that was Mitch Marner that they had last year, I think they're really missing him about now.
I don't think about that, right?
Yeah, and I feel like it's just having a bigger effect on the team than anyone ever really expected. Like, I mean, Mitch Marner, he's a great player, but you know, you still got Nylander, you got Matthews, you got Tavares, you got Nyes, who was incredible last year, and now they're really just not clicking. In Toronto right now.
Like there's just a lot. Like you said like injuries too. Like Matthews is out now.
Yeah,
again.
Matthews is out.
What is? Do you know the timeline? I can't remember.
I don't.
I think it is somewhat. Not long term, but I definitely like over a month and a half for sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's just see what Google will tell me.
I don't know what the injury was either. I'm trying to think.
Here we go. So from Sportsnet 2 days ago, Maple Leafs Matthew is improving, but no timeline for return. Okay. So that's kind of up in the air. I would say if they're saying no timeline for return, I would be saying over 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because if it was less than that, they would have him on a week-to-week for a week or two and then put him on day-to-day if they think he's going to be ready. But I honestly, with Matthews, since it's still saying potential long-term, especially, I think we could see him just make the jump from full AL to day-to-day in a month or two.
Yeah.
It just out of the blue.
For sure.
So they're not going to want to make a huge deal out of that. Of course, it is the big piece that they're missing. Of course, Stolar's out too. You're missing your goaltender who was great in the playoffs last year and great in the run-up to the playoffs last year. And now you're missing Austin Matthews too.
Yeah. Brutal.
Yeah, and I think
Brutal
another
hit.
thing that will be on Matthews' mind as well regarding his return will be the Olympics, playing for,
For sure.
the States,
Yeah.
because that's a big deal for him. Of course, we've always made these jokes, especially on last year's show when we came back from our reading break in February. Jack, you weren't there, but the rest of us kept making jokes about how Matthews can't win a Game 7 situation in TD Garden.
Mine too. Like,
But I think he's ready to turn the tables in Italy. Like,
yeah, you think
as much
so?
as I really don't want to say it because I would really love Canada to win. I think Matthews, he's just going to come back from this injury. He's going to take his time. He doesn't want to get hurt again. He doesn't want to risk missing the Olympics. He's going to play quite passive, I think, through the month of January if he's back. But I think he's going to be there like fully until like he's just going to give it absolutely everything. Stanley Cup, final, Game 7, every single game of the Olympics.
Okay, that is interesting because personally, I've been feeling a little bit more down on Matthews recently, man. Like he just like the injuries recently and his production this year hasn't been that impressive.
No.
Considering like he is kind of considered a top 5 player in the league, right?
Yeah,
And he's struggled like in the international stuff, and I don't want to get too much into like the Olympic talk, but like I not worry because like obviously I'm a Canada fan.
Yeah.